Hello everybody and welcome to a new video on my channel. And today we're looking into the range combat system that Deform and developed in his tutorial series. And I have a problem with that because it is quite straightforward and everything works as expected, but the player always hits the enemy and there is no leveling of the archery skill. So this is what I'm going to show you right now. My first approach was a very straightforward solution, just a bunch of if-else-if statements with a range where you give the hit points. So every hit of an enemy counts the hit variable with a standard value of 1 at it, and then we calculate the shooting level. So in general it looks like this, and you can directly see it's kind of a lot of typing, and you always have to match these two numbers. So the lower and the upper value here is then to be the next one, so that there are no gaps in the calculation, and it's a lot of typing, and if you want to change something, then it's not optimal. So it was good though for just testing the algorithm, because after 10 hits you have the first level up, and after 25 hits you are already level 3 at shooting. So that was a proof of concept that it works. But now you can see here in my spreadsheet that I found a better solution. What I think, it's a bit more difficult to get to the next level, but still it's easy to achieve the third level and the fourth and so on. But as it is a formula, we can have endless levels. So if I just go here and do it like that, we see what we know of most games. The longer you play, the more hit points you need, and the more difficult it becomes to level up a skill. So that's it basically, and I have a test program for that. We will look into this as well. Not here, but that one. So it's basically the same. We start at shooting level 1, hit points are 0, and you see at the beginning I started with the same concept of we need a lower barrier and an upper value, but in the end, in our game, you level up one level by another. So the essential part is that we have to increment the shooting level every time we hit the upper border. And this is basically what does it. So it's the power of shooting plus 1, the next level. We're currently at 1. So we're calculating 2 times 2 to the power and the cube. So 4 times 4 times 4 is 64, and that is what we see here. So the next level 2 shooting +1 will be hit once we reach 64, and so on. So that is basically it, and then we can remove all those parts here. We don't need the lower border, and we just look if upper is hit, then we can increment shooting by 1. And as you can see, I tested it here with all the steps in between, and in the debugging we can see 65, and we reach level 2, 265 hit points, we get level 3, and so on. So that is basically our new function, and now I can go back to the real game, and we don't need this and this and this, and this. So just paste it, and of course that is duplicate, and we don't need the bar shooting any longer. And that should do the trick. By the way, player stats here is a global function, so it is put into autoload and we can access it from all our scripts, so that the enemies, they know that they are hit, and then they can test the shooting level. For instance, if we go here into our slime that we already know, then we see that take damage is 1 hit, so we don't need something inside the brackets, because 1 hit is the default value. But for instance, here we get a bonus of 5 hits, sorry, not kills, bonus of 5 hits once we kill a slime. And another interesting thing is that I'm using the shooting level to calculate how many damage points the enemy got. So for instance, I haven't showed that, shooting is our current level, here initialized with 1 at the beginning of the game, but currently I put it in to a maximum value of 15. Going back to our calculation here, that is already 27,000 hit points, so that would take a lot of enemies to kill to reach level 15. But the slime, that means if you are level 15, 15 divided by 15 is 1, so that would be a one-shot, because the slime has 100 health points and is killed by one shot with a damage of 100 points. If the player was on level 15. So if he starts at level 1, of course, it's 1 divided by 15. So it's 100 divided by 15 at the first level when we start the game. And another interesting thing where I'm using the shooting level, because that is only the damage points that go up with each level, but also I have inside the, not player stats, sorry, player GD. In player GD, we have the shooting of the arrow, like in the tutorial of Deform. When we press the left mouse button, we create a new arrow instance and we shoot it in direction of marker 2D position. And what I did now here is, you see, it's a range. So it's an integer random value in an integer range starting with 0 and the max shooting level +2. So in our example 17, 0 and 17, first coordinate of the vector minus, the 17 minus the current level. So at the beginning we're starting at 1, so 15 plus 2 minus 1 is 0, and 16 is the first vector, so the x value of the vector, and the same I'm doing for the second one. So in an optimal world it would be run the range 0.0, 0.0, and then the arrow hits the global position of the marker 2D. But because there is a random value in both vector coordinates, you might see that the arrow sometimes goes way away from the enemy and doesn't hit the hitbox of the enemy because of the random number that we are calculating here. And that are the two steps. Of course, the better the player gets, the higher gets the player stats shooting value, so the lesser is the deviation from the 0 coordinate. Because, for instance, at level 16 or so, or level 17 of the player stats is, then it, maybe I need to change this, because the max shooting level is 15. But for the current game, it's not planned that the player gets that high of a player level for the archery skill, but then we need to maybe change the value here, the max value, so that it's always a positive number, the result of the run range. But those, in the end, the player gets better, and the deviation of the target of the arrow gets lesser the higher the shooting value becomes. So, and now let's test if our changes still work. Or I will stop it just a second. Exit game. I will player stats, just for testing purposes. I will put our hits to, let's say, 60. So after 4 hits of the first slime, we should level up. So select the bow, the first slime, we see the arrow doesn't hit because of the randy range. Maybe it hits. So it's definitely more difficult to hit the enemy from far distance. So we saw bow level was incremented by 1, and our player has leveled up the archery skill. So, thanks for watching and see you next time. Bye.